Okay, this is going to be a little bit of an exposing and vulnerable video for me, but let's do it. Hi, I'm Millie, and most of you probably don't know this, but I used to be a huge shopaholic. And Black Friday and sales season was my absolute kryptonite because I constantly felt this pressure to buy, but my finances weren't magically increasing. So today I've partnered up with Hailey, who you might know from her YouTube channel, to give you a lot of different tips on how to survive Black Friday and sales season and don't feel like you're missing out. If you haven't come across Hailey's content before, she talks a lot about mindful consumerism and making the most of your clothes and finding your personal style. So definitely check out her content for 7 more amazing tips that she has to share. And without further ado, let's dive into probably the most counterintuitive tip on this list. And it is because it involves actually buying things. But rather than becoming a victim of marketing, you get to flip the narrative when you actually understand that Black Friday wasn't meant for you to get amazing deals. Brands are not just giving you discounts out of the goodness of their heart. And it wasn't until I had my own business and I started planning my Black Friday sales in July that I realized how much thought and effort actually went into getting you to buy things that you might not even need. And so rather than becoming a victim of the brand's marketing, you can change the narrative by getting amazing discounts on items that you were going to buy anyway. And those are those practical purchases that maybe aren't the most exciting, but ultimately add the most value to your life. So, for example, if you are in need of a new pair of boots or a new coat or anything that is similarly practical that you're going to wear all the time, Black Friday is actually an amazing time to get this at an amazing discount. Another type of item that I have previously purchased are things related to my health and well being. And so things like a better mattress and a pillow to support my sleep, maybe any sort of gym gear, anything like that that's going to help me to feel better on a daily basis is also a practical purchase. Another thing that I also buy every single year is actually a big tube of my favorite cleanser from Dermalogica. And I literally use that throughout the entire year. And so if I'm going to buy it anyway, I might as well buy it on Black Friday. And you may see that while those purchases may not be the most exciting, they're going to be a little bit less intense than, let's say, buying a pair of jeans or a sparkly dress at 75% off. These are the actual purchases that you can afford. And when it comes to affordability, you might feel like you're able to afford an item just because you actually have the money in your bank account. But this is actually where you get to ask a killer question that one of my male best friends actually taught me and is going to change your life. So I was in this charity shop in London and I was looking at a Gucci hat that was originally about £500 and they were selling it for 80. And so I sent him the photo and I was like, should I buy this? Should I not? I don't live in London, so if I don't buy it, I can't go back and just purchase it another time. And he replied with this question: Millie, right now, if you were to go on the street and lose £80 from your wallet, just boom, it's gone, how would you feel? Can you comfortably afford to lose those £80 right now? And the truth is, I couldn't. So I was actually expecting those £80 to bring me some sort of return. And let's be honest, a hat that I didn't need wasn't actually going to do that. And £80 is a week of groceries, if not two. So that amount of money is not something that I can comfortably afford to lose at this time. And so this shocking question is going to really help you to bring yourself back to reality. And just because you have the money, it doesn't mean you can afford it. And I have to be honest, at the moment of receiving that question, it kind of made me annoyed because all of my female friends would have said, buy the hat, you only live once, you deserve it. But that was not actually what was in my best interest. Right now, it's been about 2 months and I have zero regrets that I haven't purchased the hat. I haven't even thought about it until this video. And so even if you realize that you can comfortably buy something, it is still really important to remember that nothing you ever buy is going to fill any voids that you might have. So something that I learned on my no buy year is that whenever we buy things, we release a hormone called dopamine. You probably have heard about it, but dopamine is actually the hormone of anticipation. It is about this excitement that we get that we're going to get something amazing. And that is why oftentimes when we purchase something and it arrives a week later, a lot of that dopamine and that excitement has actually worn off and you're left with purchases that you don't even know why you even bought in the first place. And you start realizing that your life actually hasn't changed, even though you bought this thing that you thought will completely revolutionize how you feel. And so, just to give you an example from my own personal life, about 5.5 years ago, I used to be an engineer. And I knew pretty well that this was not the career I was meant to be in, but I just didn't know what else I could be, what else I could do. And so this created a lot of anxiety and overwhelm and pressure for me to figure my life out. And whenever I felt that way, I would just go shopping to try and distract myself. And whether that was in person or online, it helped me to alleviate a little bit of that discomfort. And so, no matter what I bought, and believe me, I bought a lot of different things, nothing would fill that void inside because nothing really changed my life in a meaningful way. And it was only when I actually stopped shopping completely and I was able to realize how many things were bringing me discomfort in my day to day life in terms of my career, my relationships, my friendships, and so on. And I started to address those things and make those changes in my life that I realized that my life is meaningfully changed. And so, if you have something that you're not happy with, no amount of shopping, whether it's Black Friday deals or sales or anything else, is going to make you happy long term. And speaking of getting to know yourself, I think it's also really important to know your preferences and what kind of things and products you actually use. And that is especially important if you're buying things like gift sets, advent calendars, or anything that is in bulk. I learned this the hard way. Because about 5 years ago, Look Fantastic had released their advent calendar, and I was just so bloody excited about it because it was something like £1,000 worth of value only for about 200. So I got the advent calendar, and it was really beautiful and it was exciting. But as I started to unbox the items, and mind you, they had released a list of all of the items, so I knew what was inside, I started to realize that most of those things were skincare and hair care products. And I am not the kind of person that likes to experiment with either skincare or hair care. I have my skincare products that I use every day, and I have my regular shampoo and conditioner that I use every day, and that's pretty much it. I don't even enjoy trying new products. So why the heck did I buy an advent calendar full of skincare and hair products? I have no clue. I think it's because I like makeup, and there were 4 or 5 items that were in this advent calendar that I wanted to try. But when I actually did the maths a year later, I realized that for the money that I spent on the advent calendar, I could have bought all 5 of the makeup items I wanted full price, and I would still be left with some money in the bank. And here is the thing. If you're buying anything because it's an amazing deal, but you're actually using about 10% of that, is it actually that good of a deal? And similarly, if you're buying things with the idea that maybe you're going to gift it to your friends or your family, is that actually realistic? Are you actually going to give 5 candles to 5 different people? Are you going to give 5 different lipsticks to 5 different people? Because if you only end up using a small portion of the thing you buy, it's actually a lot more expensive than just buying this one specific thing that you want. Are you enjoying this video so far, by the way? Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm. And speaking about bringing a sense of reality, tip number 5 is all about putting things into perspective. And I find that if you're someone that likes clothes, likes dressing up, you probably have quite a lot of items. I certainly do. And I love my clothes, but I don't remember every single thing that I have. And so this is where an app like Index that allows you to digitally catalog your entire wardrobe and track what you wear is so helpful. Because every single time now, before I'm about to buy something, whether that is for Black Friday or not, all I need to do is actually just log into my app and see, do I have anything similar that fulfills that same purpose? And especially, do I have something that I already really love and I'm going to prefer to wear rather than this thing that I'm considering buying? And because we tend to be drawn to things that we already like, be especially mindful in categories where you know you have quite a few items. So whether that is tops or shirts, jumpers, bags, anything like that, just make sure that you have everything you own in your digital wardrobe, because that can give you a sense of perspective. When you see that you have 37 different jumpers, you probably don't need another one. And if that alone is not enough, then I also like to bring cost per wear into the equation. So let's say that you're considering buying a $100 jumper, and I think a $2 cost per wear is something realistic that you can try to aim at. So in order to get to that cost per wear though, you need to wear this jumper 50 times. And even if your winter lasts half of the year, to wear an item 50 times, it's going to require to wear it every third or fourth day. And so that is a lot of wear. And you only need 3 or 4 jumpers to last you the entire winter. And so if you already have 30 different jumpers, are you really going to wear this one 30, 40, 50 times in order to get that cost per wear down? You probably aren't if you are honest with yourself. And also something that helps me to curb my desire to bring something new is realizing that bringing another item just means that I get to wear all of my other amazing, lovely, and expensive items even less. And so I'm going to reach my goal of bringing the cost per wear down even slower. However, even if after all of this, you're still feeling the pressure to buy something and you almost feel out of control, you're probably being currently driven by your monkey emotional brain. And it was only when I started to learn more about the different types of brain that we have that I realized that the emotional one is very, very fast and is very strong. And whenever you feel the sense of out of control, you're not actually using your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical mind. And it can feel really, really hard to switch back to it. And all you need to do is create what I call a pattern interrupt. So basically, something to temporarily pause what you're doing and something that's going to require you to use your logical brain to complete. So I remember for me, whenever I get this strong, strong desire to buy something and I just almost can't control myself, what I do is I stop and I tell myself, okay, I'll come back to this in 11 minutes or in 15 minutes or something like that. I can even set the timer. And during that time, I try to do something that requires me to use my logical brain. So that can be things like doing some simple math, spelling the alphabet backwards. But if you're someone creative like myself, you might want to write 25 ideas for videos or 10 different outfits you can create with this item you're considering. Just try and do something that requires mental effort because it's going to help your brain to switch between the emotional and logical side. And when you come back to the purchase in 11 minutes or 15 minutes, you're going to be a lot more logical and you'll be able to better assess, do you actually need this? Or was it simply something that was much more of an impulse purchase and you felt drawn towards it by your emotional brain? And finally, if nothing else works and you still feel like, I need to buy this, I want to buy this, double check the return and the refund policy from wherever you're buying. Because there's been many times when Black Friday deals are one-off and items are non-refundable and are not something that you can actually take back if you change your mind. Something else to check is whether you have to pay for return shipping, how many days you have to change your mind, and just know how much effort it's actually going to require for you to return that item and get your money back. And I found that in the worst of times when I was in the real depths of my shopping addiction, this was the only thing that worked. I would get the package, put on the item or try on the item and just be really disappointed or just not feel as happy as I thought I was going to be. And so I would send it back and in a week I would get my money back. And this is not ideal. This is not what we're trying to do. But if nothing else works, at least that is something that can temporarily help and make sure that you're not spending all of your money on things that you don't need. Now it's time to go and check out Hayley's video because she has something amazing to share. So head over there and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.